episode 407, again.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Tony Abdullah. It's a tech podcast, but we're a shit ton cooler than your typical geek, giving you the info you need to achieve mega nerd status. And now, here's Will and Tony.
Woo!
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of NetHeads again. My name is Will. You want to take part in the program, you can. One of many ways. It's called chatting wherever the hell you listen or watch us. Thank you very much for that nice, awkward 5 minutes of nothing that we did. Tonight has been a hoot to get going. I've been totally thrilled and excited with how the opening went the first time. So glad we got a redo again. Exactly. Also, I want to thank all of the NetHeads listeners, including our Patreon supporter of the week, Zachary Stewart. They, most of all, have probably had an idea of the fact that, didn't we already get a 407? Yes, you did. I converted it to a NetHeads special presentation because it just didn't. It was something. But it was not NetHeads per se. So convert it to a special presentation, it's fine. Also, I want everyone to know that you may be hearing odd noises. Please be quiet, Louie. I'm going to introduce you to the concept of life with Louie, my Louie robot. I brought it back online, and it is just, it's obnoxious. It is not a robot you can have on your desk and have a normal life, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes as we get into the tech. I mean, I'm starting to get the feeling. Maybe it is. Anyway, it's been a while, Tony. You haven't been on the program in a while, and I haven't done the program in a while. And part of the reason is because I had to go out of town on business. And then when I came back, I was exhausted, and Trent wasn't available. And I didn't even want to ask you because of just, I don't think I really wanted to do it. But here we are. And I felt compelled to do NetHeads, both because I want to make sure we don't lose any more listeners, but also because both you and I are now about to go out of town again. You are, where are you taking off to on Saturday? Oh, okay, great. And guess what? Guess what, Tony? Just guess. Just guess. Guess how much of your audio
on
just
your
went out.
side?
I give up. Look,
Did we lose my audio?
you had no audio. I can't with this. And the video's stuttering. You know, if anything, if I were ever to say the universe has given me a sign, this is it. The universe is giving me a sign.
It's a tech podcast with tech issues. That makes for good content.
I'm glad you think so. I'm starting to get extremely embarrassed and frustrated. But anyway.
Can you hear me now? Can they hear me now?
Yeah. Everybody can hear you now.
Okay.
Nobody could hear you at the beginning, but Tony's going to Orlando. I'm doing the fiscally irresponsible thing because next week is my daughter's dance competition, nationals.
Mm-hmm.
And it is in a place called Indian Well, which is apparently part of the greater Palm Springs area.
Mm-hmm.
But we found out we don't have to be there until Tuesday. So we're doing
nice.
We're doing the most appropriate thing, which is going into further debt and spending 2 days at Disneyland.
So when do you leave to go there?
We leave early Sunday morning. And
Okay.
Now, here's the great thing about staying, Tony, at one of the Disneyland hotels, is that when you are a guest, you're a guest all day, no matter what check-in is. So we can get there early, we can check our bags in, we can have the valet take the car, go straight into the parks with our park hopper tickets, and the moment our room is available, they'll let us know and we can come back, get ourselves situated, et cetera, et cetera. So
Yeah.
that's what we're doing. And because of the time or the season, or I don't know why, but I got an insane discount. And I'm going to be staying in the place I've always wanted to stay, which is the Grand Californian Hotel.
Oh,
Which
nice.
is the, I will just
I
say,
would guess it's something similar to like the Grand Floridian.
I don't know. It's got a rustic
It's
lodge.
schwanky.
It's supposed to be, but all the
Okay.
Disneyland hotel rooms look the same to me. It's just the ambiance around it. It's like a winter lodge, but more importantly, it's also butted right up against the back of California Adventure. So there's
That's
no
nice.
there's no having to count on the monorail or having to walk all of downtown Disney to get to the gates for either park. As a matter of fact,
Mhm.
if you're going into California Adventure, if they have reopened it since the construction temporarily had it closed, the hotel has its own entrance to California Adventure.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
you don't have to stand in line with the plebes to get into a park. Hell no. You can just go
Yeah.
in.
See, like, okay, so from my experience, like, just going back, I was 3 years old when I first went to Disney World. They only had Epcot and Magic Kingdom, and we stayed at like a roadside motel where all of the
Mm-hmm.
window, the doors face the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like that was like the best experience ever, and we drove that way. We're driving again. This is the first time since 22. Okay, the way I said that, it made me feel like back in 22. In 2022, uh we went and we stayed at the All-Star Sports Resort. And so I kind of know what you mean, because we could leave our bags with the concierge. Now we weren't going into the parks until the next day, so we were waiting for them to check us in, and because we were really patient and we were being like really friendly because we were just excited to be there, they like gave us a voucher, gave us like, go get some free food. So we went and spent way too much money on food that we didn't have to pay for. This time we're staying off of the campus. We're staying off of Disney because not only are we going to Disney for 3 days, we're going to be at Universal with a park hopper for Islands of Adventure and for Universal Hollywood, and then or Universal Studios Florida. I don't know what they call it down there, Orlando, I guess. And then we're doing one day at Epic Universe. So
Ah.
we're within like a shot because we're staying in Kissimmee, I guess is what it's called. I thought it was
Kissimmee?
Kissimmee, but it's from how
Kissimmee?
everybody pronounces it, it's like Kissimmee. It's like,
Ah.
you're gonna Kissimmee.
Hey.
So we're gonna stay there,
Faison.
and we get to do whatever we want while we're there. And then this is where it's getting frustrating because we're like, okay, Universal, Epic Universe, 3 days at Disney. We're there for like 7 days, but then they're like, oh, but you can also go like to Gator Country, SeaWorld, Legoland, Busch Gardens, and I'm sitting there going, there's not enough days
Mm-hmm.
for you to tell us that we can do all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like trying to pick and choose what we really want.
No, that's what vacationing should be about. I'm really looking forward to this because after 2 days of Disney, all I have to do is lay around a hotel room in a resort. So, if I want to sit by the pool, I can do that. If I want to give people an impression that they're at SeaWorld and Shamu is there, I can go in the pool, all kinds of things. But you know what, Tony? None of that is important right now. What's more important is the fact that we get into what the tech? Yeah, you see, you've been gone a while, and you're not aware of the fact that we've got legit segments now. We've got
Yeah.
planned things, and we do them set to a time. Like technically, you went 3 minutes over on that one.
Oh,
The
sorry.
last one, but it's okay. It's not like there's a visual timer. Don't worry about it, man. So interestingly enough, Tony, I'm sure you are aware, and I
Mhm.
should have brought them in, but I didn't. I was one of those people that was really into Google Glass, and news from a month ago when I prepped this, Google they're coming back again. They're going for wearable again. What they're going to present to us is a pair of glasses that look very similar, but a little bit thicker than like these. And instead of having the display on an awkward piece of quartz that's floating out, the image is going to be right there in the glass, like almost like a green terminal type thing. So that's happening. And I don't know when it's going to come out. I don't know how much it's going to be, but they're called the Android XR specs. But it's going to be glass again. Basically, it's
Mhm.
Google wants to sit on your face, my friend. That's the whole point, and I'm looking forward to
Mhm.
that.
So what's interesting is like we didn't even like it's not even talk. Have you ever heard of like I think it's called Even Realities?
No.
Even Realities does a pair of glasses, and I was brought they were brought to my attention through like TikTok and Instagram videos. But basically, like if you ever see like guys doing TED Talks and they have got these like thick brim glasses, kind of similar to yours. There's a glasses that are called I think they're called Even Realities. I can't remember exactly which one. I think it's called the G1. Um, it has augmented like a HUD in the glass where it projects on the glass. And so they use it as like a teleprompter that will acknowledge as you're reading the teleprompter, it will start to scroll up in the glass. You can ask it questions and it will give you information and it will give you like directions for walking or driving like from the glasses. And I was sitting there looking at that and like if you mix what Google has been wanting to do with their like the cameras and everything else with that and the heads up display, because I don't think we've ever gotten a good version of that. That would be amazing.
Yeah, it would be, and I'm interested to see how this really works, how well it works. But they're all in on it, so more power
Mhm.
to them. I'm gonna skip over something, although I thought it was really interesting. I don't know if you have caught this on any of your social media video platforms, but lately it appears. Once again, Google has come up with an AI innovation for creating video, and
Oh,
there are
yeah.
people that they're now creating AI vlogs, and the one that has taken over my feed are Bigfoot vlogs, and it's as though
Yeah.
Bigfoot were vlogging, even though more of them look like large apes. But it's just Bigfoot and sometimes Bigfoot hanging out with a Yeti, and they're doing things and experience things. Apparently, when people are creating these videos, everybody wants their variation of Bigfoot found in energy drink, Bigfoot on drugs. It seems like they're generating these things, and one person sees it, and then another person wants to make their own similar thing. It's like
Hmm.
little tiring. Now, the one that I do enjoy the most of these has been where it's actually stormtroopers, and it's them
Okay.
vlogging while they're like boots on the ground in certain encounters we've seen in Star Wars.
Right,
Uh,
right, right.
those I find amusing as all hell, but it does really, in a way, it exemplifies how AI could be a bad thing for content creation, and in some ways, it demonstrates how it could be a good thing. You could take something quick to market, uh, if you had a simple idea, and you wanted to see it. Unlike way back in the day, there was the viral video called Troopers, which was a cops parody based on uh,
Oh, I remember
Star
that.
Star Wars, and oh god, it was just so brilliant, especially the way they get into how Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru truly got taken out. It was actually because Aunt Beru had a drinking problem, and she accidentally sets off a thermal detonator, and so then the stormtroopers are just trying to cover it up because it was a
Hmm.
bad thing. Uh, you didn't have to have people in costume to shoot that. If it were these vlog videos, you don't have to build sets and everything. In that respect, I get it. It's okay. But obviously, if you're recreating characters, much like
Hmm.
our beloved game Fortnite, in its 4 week, which was about 2 weeks too long, Star Wars temporary event that happened, they had AI Vader, which was very disconcerting to hear James Earl Jones's voice doing all these things. But I didn't want to talk about any of those. I got to do something about this. I plugged in the Louis robot and I brought it back online. I haven't had it
Hmm.
set up for a little while, okay? Because I wanted to say, like, what is this one really like? Especially if it's functioning as a digital friend, a digital pet, or a desktop pet,
Hmm.
as many of them have. Now, the great thing about this again is you take the phone off. You can use a phone. I used an old iPhone 4 because I'm not going to trust anything with my actual information
Hmm.
on here running the program for the robot, even though it's also powered by Chat GPT, and you can ask it questions and it will give like legitimate responses. Like earlier I was just like, hey Louie, how can I know my data is secure with you?
Prioritize keeping your interactions private and safe right here with me. It's important to follow general cybersecurity practices, like using secure networks and protecting your personal info online, for added security. If you have any concerns or questions...
All right, too long and sick. The whole point is I'm taking this thing off of here because I've been trying to do the show, and it's just sitting over there talking, doing stuff, and it's been like that all day. And like when I'm working and I'm talking to people, I'm a big hand gesturer. And earlier, this thing thought I flew at the bird, so it got mad, and then it started shooting like robot guns at me, which, you know, when it comes to something as simple as a hand gesture, that really
And you
seems
wonder
like
how Skynet takes over.
it seems
'cause
like
they-
an overreaction.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I plugged it in because I thought, oh, I'll make some videos about this because I got other videos to do too. And I like to sprinkle in the robot content with the stuff that pays the bills. But, I mean, it's great that it works, but damn, he's obnoxious today. And it's also, it's one of those things where it's a great concept because it has all the processing power of an iPhone behind it. It's not limited by like a bastardized Android board or what am I thinking of?
Like a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, Raspberry Pi. It's not like that. It's like legit a full-blown iPhone that can power it. But honestly speaking, they've just put in the same random emotes and silly things that it does all day. So like by the third time it's happened, you're ready to just throw the robot off the desk. At which point then you're throwing an iPhone. So it's not really advisable, but that's life with Louie, my friends. It's just, and one of the, I think I read it on a message board earlier or on Reddit. One of the best things that would be about it if somebody jailbroke it, because it has so much potential for what it can do. But you know, like it also doesn't do the basic stuff. I asked it to set a reminder. I'm making bread today. And I said, please remind me to check my starter at 3 p.m. And it said it set a reminder for me. Did I get any notification? No. Did my starter start to fall? Yes. Was I thrilled about it? Absolutely not. So, but you know, the good thing I will say about this is if you don't mind using your Android or your iPhone to be the robot's brain, it also does wireless charging via the MagSafe connection, but also like for a mobile desktop pet at $179 US, it's one of the least expensive, especially when you compare it to the cost of I think Vector's right now, if you go to Vector Robot or whatever their website is now, it's like somewhere in the 400s. I don't even want to know what emo is.
But also think about this though. In order to use that bot, you need like $1,000 like phone.
Yeah, but you've got that already because you paid for it monthly for 2 years and or 3 years.
I want to see somebody with a Boost mobile phone trying to use it.
I mean, it would be interesting.
Yeah.
I'd be very interested to see it. So that's life with Louie, guys. It's an interesting bot. Would I recommend it at $179? I think for the novelty of it, possibly, but you really got to want it. And that's the point.
Yeah.
You really got to want it, Tony.
See, like I wanted the Sphero BB-8 for like the longest time, but I just could never pull the trigger on that price point. And then of course I find it at a yard sale after the fact that the servers no longer support the bot. And it's only because I was able to use an Amazon like Kindle and find the APK for it that I actually was able to use it. But it is what it is. It's just
Well, you know, it's like
remote
my
control
Google
robot.
Glass. It had its time and now it's passed. As a matter of fact, I recently bit the bullet and I actually deleted the Glass app from my phone finally. Yeah, what's it going to power? But you know what? None of that's important, Tony, because right now, instead, I think what we should do is we should dip in to one of my favorite parts of the program that is completely inappropriately named, and that is, hello, the Pop Culture Pulse. Huh?
Yeah,
Ready to
I think
talk some
pop is
culture?
Yeah, that's a good segue.
Right? No, it wasn't. Actually, you know what? I don't want
Pop?
to get into the Pop Culture Pulse. What I really want to get into is the fact that we've got a new sponsor on the program, and I wanted to talk about it because it's an amazing product. If you are doing 3D printing, okay, if you have one of the major brand 3D printers, if it's an FDM printer, this company SliceWorks is great. They have a triple dipped polymer build plate, the models print on. And the great thing about this is, like, I just got a Creality K2 Plus, right? And what's one of the things that comes in the kit for bed adhesion? A glue stick. Or what else do they tell you? You got to use a polymer that you lay down, so that way when it gets hot, it gets stickier. You don't need this with the SliceWorks triple dipped build plate. They've got a build plate for just about every major brand of 3D printer. You don't have to mess with glue. You don't have to mess with glue sticks. Nothing. It just holds a print. I tell you wholeheartedly, when I got that K2 Plus, before it was even unboxed, I had ordered and delivered the SliceWorks build plate for the K2 Plus. I've got one on each one of my Bamboo A1 printers. I would not print on a build plate if it wasn't a SliceWorks triple dipped polymer build plate, cool plate, whatever you want to call it. And they're not just build plate people. They are also manufacturers of great PLA and other filaments that you can use for printing. And best of all, they actually have what is called the Slice Box, and I think it's the Pro level one. And I'm going to get your reaction on this because you have no idea what I'm talking about. For $39.99 a month, you are guaranteed to get a solid color filament PLA, a tricolor filament PLA, and these aren't the junk PLAs that they can't sell. No, it's a new PLA new filament every single month through December. And it's not the stuff that didn't sell, it's stuff that they came up with that's popular, that people want. So first there's that. There's also going to be a bonus item every single month. Last month, it was a finishing tool that you could use to heat stuff up. You can use seams, you can do bonding with it. Like $20 on Amazon, and that's in there. So that's 2 filaments and a bonus item. And when you've got the box subscription, it qualifies you for any particular add-ons. Like, how about, like, right here? I got it right here, Tony. How about a subscriber bonus deal, an Airy One M2 filament dryer, single roll filament dryer for only $25. And you can add that to your subscription box for 1 month, limited supply while available. A $20 filament dryer or $25 filament dryer, I've got it right over there. I couldn't resist. All of that. Take the bonus thing out of there. But, you know, like, if you want to scan the QR code, guys, there you go. You can scan it, you can grab it, you can do whatever you want with it.
Wow.
With the subscription box, think about that. So 2 filaments, tricolor, solid color, and the bonus thing for $39.99 a month. And at $39.99 a month, that's practically just the filament, and you're getting the bonus item every time. That's something it's going to be a value for 3D printing. It's going to be stuff you want.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. Quality filament, you're unless you're like buying it in bulk, which is what I did to get the Solune Creality filament. You're looking at like $15 a spool for a kilogram. So
and that's if you're bargain hunting. If you want the quality stuff, like a hyper PLA, a higher printing PLA, you're going to be spending more than $20 a roll. So you're getting filament, and not to mention, Tony, I left out stickers and candy. You like sweet tarts, you're going to get sweet tarts. One of the stickers is right here. It says, like, I can 3D print that, which is exactly what I think every time. And I wish I had brought it in here. We have the Magic Bands for Disneyland, and it's not exactly convenient, the charger and this little stubby cable. But I was able to 3D print a holder, and I did it with the tricolor filament, so it kind of goes in a rainbow from green all the way to purple as it goes through, where all 3 of the chargers are in there, and it looks real pretty, and it's going to come in handy in the hotel. Best of all, I can just throw it the heck out and not have to pack it at the end because I 3D printed it. No, I'm kidding.
That's awesome.
Wasteful. Anyway, guys, go to the link in the bio. You go to sliceworks.com, and it's like !ref equals Will Wilkins, and you use the code that Will Wilkins, you get 5% off your purchase. So be sure to check that out. SliceWorks, they're a great company, great people to work with, love their build plates, won't print on anything else. Now we can go into the pop culture segment.
No, I need to go buy that build plate. Like,
Right? I
yeah,
highly recommend it, man, especially for the K2 Plus. Like one of
I
the things,
can't tell you with the K1 Max. I love my K1 Max, but I'm constantly down here for at least the first 15 minutes watching to see if one of the tree supports or whatever is going to fail, because then I'm going to have a whole bunch of spaghetti all over my build plate. And having something that I know for sure, like literally, I covered my build plate in glue, and then I take a wet paper towel and I'll just wipe it to kind of get it re-sticky, and then throw it in there. And it feels so depressing that that's what my build plate looks like every single time.
and you know what
So
else too? Like with the K2 Plus, I'm not to talk smack, but the build plate that comes with it, crap. Okay, it's a textured build plate, and it has to be textured uneven with bumps to help the print hold on.
right,
But this, look right here. This is what you're going to get from the textured build plate from our good friends there at Sliceworks. Come on, focus, you bastard. Focus. There we go. You
that's
notice it's just
nice.
mildly ridged, just mildly. By the way, yes, I'm 3D printing magnetic ears so that way I can put on any kind I want on my hats.
I'm so jealous you're going to Avengers Campus. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say, I'm looking forward to all the stuff we're gonna do, especially like the How to Train Your Dragon. But like, yeah, I one day I'm going to Avengers Campus.
Tony, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Okay. Not talking about any of that stuff, but it is kind of Disney related. Getting into the pop culture pulse, uh, I find this kind of shocking. Are you even aware of the fact that there is a new Pixar movie that's being released tomorrow?
Yes, I am. Only because, only because they were talking about it a long time ago, and I try to listen for Pixar stuff. And we were at the How to Train Your Dragon screening on Friday, and they played it, and my kid got excited because, oh, this looks like a fun movie.
Right.
But it's there's very little marketing for this thing,
Exactly. And
especially for as long as we've known about it. It's been out, like it's been it's been announced and it's been out there for like you to be able to see stuff for at least, I want to say, a year.
yeah.
And there was no talk, like there's been no talk about it except for
Yeah,
as of
and
recent.
you see, it's very confusing to me. Even though I think in the past Disney has had issues when they have a Pixar movie they don't know how to advertise. Like one of the greatest Pixar movies, the one that touches my heart as a creator, as a person that pretends that he's an artist. Ratatouille is one of the best movies ever, with one of the best messages ever. Right?
Hmm.
Anyone can cook. You know, it doesn't mean that anyone can be a master chef, but a master chef can come from anyone. And that's the same thing about the creative side. So,
Just
Ratatouille,
because you
great
like
movie.
cooking.
They had no idea. I do. They had no idea how to advertise it. So it's kind of the same story. Maybe I'm thinking with this because, like, at first I was starting to get paranoid. Is Disney just losing faith in the Pixar brand? But I'm going to California Adventure. There's an entire pier that's themed with Pixar. There's the
Hmm.
Incredicoaster. There's the Toy Story Midway Mania, right?
Hmm.
Also, I think if they don't have a full section for it, they at least have elements of come on, the movie with the kid who goes into the afterworld. Coco.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's Coco elements. So I mean,
Yeah,
like,
and they're building stuff in Disney World now too. I mean, they're going to have like a whole Cars area, and Cars has been a big franchise, that they still
yeah.
put out for and push for.
So it's not like
Um,
the IP isn't worth something. So I'm hoping that this is just one of those things where they don't know how to advertise it. But I also freely admit the last couple Pixar movies didn't exactly grab me, if you will. So I
yeah,
mean,
and
look, I'm sorry. I understand the power of the Me Too movement, but something has been lost when John Lasseter left.
no comment.
Okay. Look, man, I'm not obviously problematic, but
Yeah,
something has been lost since then. That's my opinion.
yeah.
I could be
Well,
wrong.
but I also think it's like it. They're not marketed. They're not like you don't. You're people are going blind into these movies. Like I'll be honest with you. Like Turning Red was a fantastic film. It was a
Loved it.
very fun film. Putting it to just streaming was the worst decision ever. Like it wasn't until I think after it already released in streaming that they finally have a theatrical release, and it was very limited and it didn't benefit from it. Like some of these movies like really needed to be. It was like even, but it's not just Pixar because like even Netflix, The Mitchells versus the Machines, was an amazing movie. It was a great message, and Sony had originally thought to put it out on in theaters, and then the pandemic hit, and they're like, you know what, we're tired of waiting, let's just give it to Netflix. So, yeah,
I mean, I understand certain elements. I get it, but
yeah.
it feels like they're losing faith in them. So I guess we'll see how it goes. I think actually recently they confirmed that Incredibles 3 is going to be going into production. So
Here's a good
there's
idea.
elements of Pixar they love, clearly.
Maybe what Disney could do is stop putting out lots of movies and go back to the like major feature per year per studio and let them have quality films again. Like I feel like we're churning out too much, and this is coming from a Marvel fan, but same thing for Marvel. Marvel has not benefited from them trying to churn out multiple shows and multiple movies.
Yeah, but the problem is, the fish rots from the head, Tony. And in this case, Chapek didn't know what he was doing, and Iger freely admitted after coming in, we got to dial some things back. There's too much. I understand what we're trying to do, but we also have shareholders to answer to, and we want to make money, and we don't want to have to increase the cost of drinks by 25 cents at all the parks to make sure we can fund our films, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
speaking of increased costs, there are some expensive things coming out relatively soon this next month.
Okay, well, if you want to get into that, let's jump ahead. We'll go into Super Central. This is the part of the program where we do specifically focus on all the wonderful things that are going on in the world of superhero movies. And we have got a lot of them, like including the fact July 11th, we have our good friend Superman returning. The James Gunn helmed Superman is going to be coming out. Don't really need to say much there. I love everything I'm seeing about it. Really looking forward to it. I feel like we're in good hands, and I'm praying this is not the time that James Gunn finally betrays us and makes something bad. That said, more importantly, getting to the pocketbook of it all, as you mentioned, Tony, and I apologize that I'm going to cut you out of the shot here, but I'll at least get your reactions because, as you know, popcorn buckets, man. It's all about the popcorn buckets, but now it's also concession vessels and everything else. What am I talking about? Well, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, Marvel dropped on us what is being touted as the largest popcorn vessel ever to date, and it is the head of Galactus. And
361 ounces.
361 ounces, but more importantly, Tony, what's the cost?
$80.
No, I will buy the model from Do 3D and I will 3D print my own.
But its eyes glow.
I can do that with LEDs, man. I can do that with cosplay lenses.
I'm just saying. So this is the first time, I will say this. This is the first time a popcorn bucket is crossing the streams of multiple theater franchises. This bucket is going to be available at AMC. It's going to be available at Regal. Oh, no, I'm sorry. AMC, Cinemark,
yes,
and it's also going to be at the Marcus theaters. And if you are really wanting to buy it and you don't have the fear of paying $20 extra for shipping like I do, you can order it on the Marcus website to pre-order for them to deliver it sometime at the end of July.
But wait, Tony, I think what AMC at least is banking on is let's hit everyone at a certain price point, okay? Because like I said, there's the Galactus, but now they've also come up with the new concept, which is the concessions vessel with the Herbie. So it includes a large popcorn, large drink, and candy, plus a place to store all three of them somehow in this vessel that you see here. He holds it all for you. It even says, okay, so I don't know what Herbie's going to cost. I'm easily going to say probably $60. And then You go, what else do they have? Okay, hold on. Hold our beer. How about some character tins? Characters with like little superhero featurettes for your popcorn. Who knows what those are going to do? But hey, collect all 6, guys. Collect all 6. They'll be less. We'll charge $30 for those or whatever they're going to do. $40.
Probably $24.99 or something like that.
There you go. But wait, okay. All of that too rich for your blood. AMC says, don't worry. We'll also give you character totem cups. And I will say that the one I got for Thunderbolts with the Red Guardian on top, I really enjoyed. I do like that these are themed accordingly for the Fantastic Four, but still a bit much. Now, all of that was AMC. The Galactus head, like you said, is also available at Cinemark and some other theaters. Regal, they're coming in with the Fantastic Car, which, okay, like
I hadn't seen that yet.
I need a new credit card. That's all I'm thinking. My whole thing is I'm comforted by the fact I have no place to put all this crap, so I'm not getting it. But wait. What about Cinemark? Like we said, they've got the Galactus head. They've also got the Mr. Fantastic bucket where he's stretching around the bucket. There's the regular popcorn tin featuring all the characters and a souvenir cup and double wall cup. Can you believe all of this is happening? No, I can't. But, best of all, Tony, if you're like me, one of the ones that I actually am most excited about that I'm not going to get as well are the Alamo Draft House. They're going to have pint glasses.
Of course they
for
are.
pint glasses. So, get your beer, get your pint glass, and then get your drink on with Mr. Fantastic right there with you. I mean, we can't win. We can't win for trying, Tony. I can't believe these places and their buckets and their tins.
I need to pay my mortgage, and like I'm almost 6 months into my new job, and I'm about to get my $500 sign-on bonus. And I'm like, really? Like, this is my life now?
It's all spent. It's all popcorn buckets and vessels and oh my. I mean, it's gotten ridiculous, hasn't it? It's really, that's absurd. By the way, mind you, the most profitable part of a movie theater is the concession stand.
And, like, I couldn't get to AMC to get the Red Guardian limousine, so I just gave up on that. I did not like the asterisk bucket at Regal, so first Marvel movie I didn't get a bucket from is the Thunderbolts. It's funny because Captain America, I ended up getting the freaking Red Hulk bucket from Regal because they were selling them on discount because nobody was buying them. And now, like, the FOMO for Galactus is so real. And here's the thing, like, I understand you're going to 3D print one, but like, I have this need for licensed things. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I was listen. When I was a teenager, I grew up watching professional wrestling. I was like really big into the NWO and WCW, which you probably don't even care or know what that is, which is perfectly fine. And my mom, for my birthday, had a guy that did airbrush an NWO T-shirt for me, and I took it. I wore it, but I didn't like it because it wasn't licensed.
I understand.
So it's like.
Deep down inside, you're a brand label baby.
I am such a shill. That's all it is. I don't care. Like, literally, the reason why I don't mind even when a Marvel movie is crap is because it's still a Marvel movie, and I love Marvel, and I'm not getting paid to say that, because literally, if I was getting paid, it would be so much easier to afford these freaking buckets.
I understand, Tony. And speaking of Marvel, I think we're going to forego any of the other segments. We're going to scrap the listener lounge. We're going to forget about, which I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in the fact that we are going to forget about the 3D print segment, because there's a fun game that we play in it. Let's do it real quick. So the section is 3D printed, right? But what we have in there within 3D printed is a subsection. And that is, it's a guessing game where I show you a 3D print, one of the latest 3D prints I've done, and you've got to guess what it is. And what do we call it?
What is my purpose?
What is my purpose, Tony? the 3D printing segment where you have to decide what is the purpose. Now, this week's one is pretty interesting. Originally, I was going to do the 3-port charger for the Magic Bands because it's a cylinder with holes in it. How the hell could you guess what that is? This one, I think, is kind of easy, too. We're going light on you in the beginning.
Okay.
So I'm going to present it to you from all angles, and then you will make a guess. Now, I'm going to describe it to everyone. There is a base that is present with, I'm going to say, about a like a 10-degree angle, or technically, if you're coming off the 90-degree, like an 80-degree lean to it.
Okay.
There is an indented area here. There is this hexagon shape or whatever that is, and a hole here. There's a smaller hole on top with another hexagon, and then these channels along the back. So that's what we're looking at. So the question is, Tony, for you to answer,
what is my purpose?
Okay, that one feels really easy. That one looks like it's like an Apple Watch, MagSafe phone charger, and then a place for the AirPods to go.
you, sir, you hit it out of the park the first go. That is exactly what it is. But like I said, I was going easy on you on this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because clearly, like, that is MagSafe charger size, smaller one. And I did take them out in order to show it to you. Also, the importance of alignment on your prints, guys, when I always talk about you want your layer lines to go against the area where you will be experiencing tension or torque or pressure. You ready for it? Oh, the glue's holding. It snapped. When I took the charger out,
Were you trying to break
right
it?
there.
Oh.
Yeah, I was just trying to smack it because I'm like, oh, it'll break again, no problem. But I used the Gorilla Glue, so hey, let's hear it for Gorilla Glue, everybody.
Hey.
There we go. So that's that. But Tony, I want to spend the last 5 minutes because I gotta go make a pizza. Okay, I preheated the oven. I gotta go. I'm sorry, I gotta make a pizza, but I'm gonna give you 3.5 minutes because I have been waiting weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks to hear what you thought about Marvel Studios Thunderbolts * New Avengers.
All
what
right.
did you think? Now that you finally saw it, because Tony had
I got to see it. I got to see it
the
the week before it came out of theaters.
came out of theaters.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I finally got to watch it, and then they're like, oh yeah, it's leaving theaters next week. I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah, you got it. And I actually saw it twice because I went to go see it once opening night, and then another night, bougie, I was out with the dog groom. I took the dogs to the dog groomers, and instead of driving home, I'm like, oh, I'll go see Thunderbolts. So what did you think, though? What was your impression of it?
I was very impressed with the film. First of all, it wasn't a film that needed to give a lot of expectation. We knew what we were going into. A bunch of guys. My impressions of it being a very much like a Suicide Squad type group was spot on. Mind you, the New Avengers thing was already spoiled for me going into it, but that didn't really take me out of it because honestly, not knowing much about the film except for that one scene that you kind of got a sneak peek of where they're kind of fighting amongst themselves, and then you know that it's going to be in the city at some point because you see the void going through New York. I didn't know how many locations we were going to be at, what was specifically going on. And mind you, once those few scenes that we did see in the trailers were done, I'm like, okay, so maybe we're going to stay in this bunker this whole time. I love to hate, what's his face? Walker. Could not stand him, but like it was enjoyable seeing everybody else crap on him. I loved the exploration of Yelena and dealing with her trauma and trying to find her place and be who she is. And I love the moment where they all decided to be heroes. I love the fact that they also, knowing her, knew that she wasn't gone when she walked into that void and that there had to be more, and they just kind of trusted it. And the fact that I think Bob is my favorite character when it comes to like new introductions in the MCU right now.
Yeah.
Just like him sitting in the recliner chair, like just eating chips and just watching what's going on. I was like, I did the dishes.
Like, I'd love to help, guys, but
I did do the dishes. It's but I love that. I like the idea that we're going into an Avengers film, and there's obviously a quarrel between two different teams now and two different fronts. and what that means to have to lead up to everything that's going on. It was nice to see the Fantastic Four. It was the first time we've gotten a end credit scene that led back into the next film. We haven't had that in a while. It's been kind of aimless teasers at the ends, and so I very
Yeah.
much like this, and it was
I don't
very
think
it was
I
very
don't think we've
simple.
I don't think we've seen that since the OG Captain Marvel. That was the
Yeah,
last
it's like
time.
what happened to the Ten Rings? What's going on with this? What's going on with that? Where's Tiamat? What's like there's just no.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and the MCU needs to simplify. I agree with you. So, of course, the last question I've got to ask:
Mhm.
what was your reaction to what happened to Taskmaster?
Oh my word. I felt like there were a whole bunch of dude bros out there that had been complaining about Taskmaster being a woman that are like, okay, now we can have a man do it. And I'm like, I hope they don't bring the character back. Like, I just hope they leave it be.
Well, based on the incineration, I don't think so. And the only thing I can justify the reason why they did it was because one, it was something that made them all have to stop and think. Because let's face it, with all that action that was going on, if they had revealed Bob while all that was going on, he was more than likely just getting shot and killed, or with a knife or whatever. So that's one reason. The only other reason why I can think of is because having one more person inside of the elevator shaft would have made it too complex. Those are the only two things I can think of. I mean, that and the fact that they just wanted to get Taskmaster out of the universe. That's the only thing. I just don't know. I don't know why they, like, was it because one of the assassins had to complete their mission, so suddenly one person has no stakes and everybody has to stop? Or is it
Yeah,
the
it's
pure
possible.
shock value to make them stop? I don't know what happened. All I know is, man, they did her dirty. And
I will say this though. Apart from that, with Bob being able to let them all see like their worst fears and stuff, John Walker's was the worst for me because it wasn't the fact that him being a bad dad that he was seeing. It was him scrolling through his phone, seeing how everybody hated him. That was his nightmare. That was his trauma. He didn't care about being a bad dad. Like that wasn't
that's
what affected
that's a
him.
very valid point.
It was him scrolling through like, oh, everybody hates me. That told me everything I needed to know about John Walker, and I was like,
I'm
yep.
still utterly shocked that Marvel was not only. I mean, I will say, of the movie, of the pace and everything else. Again, going into the third act, I was like, holy crap, we're at the third act already.
Mhm.
There was that aspect, and also I never expected Marvel to put out probably one of the best mental health movies I've seen in a long time. It's
Yeah.
such a good message on mental health. It was shocking. Hey, Tony, this hot mess has got to be wrapped up. It's been, the show is cursed, the computer's cursed, but we got through it. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah.
Tell everyone where they can find you, please.
Well, you can find me at Mr. Marvelite everywhere. Also, check out itsfanbox.com and fanboxnetwork.com. If you like this and me and Will talking about other, nerdy crap, because that's kind of what we do there. And we're taking 2 weeks break, but we will be back after July 4th.
Dude, you're talking
That's
on
Sunday to talk about Doctor Who.
You're talking on a podcast that hasn't been on in a month. So, let's not worry about timing. Although I will say, from an ego standpoint, I utterly love the fact that you haven't asked me for a revised version of the graphic, and I appreciate you floating up the NetHeads graphic on your rear screen. It's kind of demeaning that it says Trent Hunsaker, though. I'm just saying.
It doesn't bother me. I'm a fan of that show. Like, I don't care.
Right on. Well, so am I. Usually I love doing this. Today I'm going to set fire to it. I'm going to burn everything. The thought of having to rebuild this computer is so upsetting to me. You don't know. But sometimes that's what you have to do to shake the bugs out. So maybe that's what I'm going to do. But I also will be gone for a week. So you're not going to hear from us easily until at least next Sunday, if at all. But thank you, Tony, very much for joining. Like he said, go to itsfanbox.com. Main point to hit everything. Mr. Marvelite on all socials. I'm that Will Wilkins everywhere. And until next time, folks, my name is Will.
And I'm Tony.
And we will be back
soon.
Hey, good job, man. That was well done. I like that. I'm shocked. You just picked it up.
Well, you
Way
went
to
to me.
go.
As soon as I saw you went to me, I wanted to try and do it. So
You did it well. Let's get out of here.
NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a Smodcast production. Smodcast Podcast, using our mouths on you since 2007.
Tech podcasts that can't even work. I'm like a mechanic that doesn't have a car that runs.
is it technically a tech podcast?